Happy Marie's Online anniversary, everybody. We survived at least to 2021.
Hey everybody, I hope everyone's having a great day. It just so happens to be a very beautiful day today, and I was out in the garden and watching things sprout up, also giving me new hope, along with many other things, that our world is changing and getting a little bit back to normal slowly. It's been a year since we started this. I think we're just shy of a few days, actually. So wow, what an adventure this has been. So Maddie McCloskey has asked us to put together a bit of a memoir about our experience working online and submitting material and for Marie's group, and also for the live stream for the piano players. So she put some questions for us, and I'm going to answer the questions. The first one is, how did you feel when Marie's Crisis first started exclusively streaming online?
How did I feel when Marie's Crisis started streaming exclusively online?
I think the best way to answer this is manic.
I was excited and scared.
I remember immediately being very excited because it was so jarring and so sudden.
It happened quickly and we just had to adapt.
It was a lot of the show must go on and, get the job done.
It was actually fantastic because it gave me a lot to focus on in the beginning of the pandemic.
And it turned out that there were a lot of pluses.
And then I was immediately terrified.
And a little bit out of it because I was feeling some symptoms that I later thought might have been COVID.
I don't even know if I've processed what that feeling was. It wasn't exactly disappointment. It was a little bit of fear.
Actually, I was pretty apprehensive about everything.
It was such an uncertain time.
I was nervous about doing it, and then I got feeling more comfortable with it.
The world as we knew it had totally gone interrupted. It was kind of fun in a weird way. It was very scary.
As somebody who has not necessarily been the biggest fan of social media or online presence, I realized that was suddenly going to be a big part of my life. That was quite a wake-up call.
When we first started streaming at Marie's a year ago, I don't even remember who brought it up. Whoever it was, they were brilliant. It was a brilliant idea. And it certainly wasn't me.
When Marie's first started streaming online, I was actually optimistic.
At first, it was just an idea to keep us all together.
Keep us connected to the people that we love and the people that come to Marie's and our regulars.
In the face of everything that was coming at us at the time, it felt important too. It felt like we were filling a need.
So it gave comfort and a sense of familiarity and a reason to create art in a time when we had no idea what to expect.
And it was a great way to kind of stare, down what was going on at the time and feel useful.
I thought it was a beautiful plan, and I really, really loved that we were all rallying to keep this community alive.
It seemed like fun. It seemed like that would be like, kind of novel in a way for us to, sort of, I don't know, keep our spirits up and alive at that point.
I'd have to say, when we first went online, what's striking to me in my memory about it is how temporary I thought it was going to be, and how temporary it ended up obviously not being.
I was really under the impression that we would only be streaming for a couple of weeks.
This is gonna be a really interesting 2 weeks. Can't wait. Just someone get me back to New York, please. That's what I thought.
I felt it was going to be maybe for a few weeks.
Maybe a couple of months at the most at the time.
I thought, well, this will be an interesting experiment for a couple of months.
I think most of us thought it might be a month or two.
You know, maybe a couple months.
I thought that it was only going to last for like until April or May or maybe June at the most. I mean, Broadway was going to be open by June. Everything's going to be fine.
And that by Gay Pride, we'd be back in the bar having a wonderful time, and this would be a terrible memory.
And that turned out not to be the case.
I was very hopeful.
Boy, were we wrong, or at least I was.
And here we are a year later.
I felt like a quick fix that quickly turned into the rest of the year.
And feel happy that we did it and that we're still doing it.
Number 2, what was your first entirely online Marie's Crisis shift like?
What was your first what was my first? This is water.
I remember the first shift.
It was mostly a blur.
This was the first exclusively digital night. It was March 16th.
My shift was the first one to go online because I played the early shift on Monday.
The very first online performance was a Monday night. It was Alex and myself.
My first shift was certainly a scramble.
A few hours to scramble and get on Facebook and Instagram because I hadn't been on those sites before. So by the time my shift rolled around, I was basically running on adrenaline.
We were shot out of a cannon. We just started, and it was the very first night of an exclusively digital Marie's. Other pianists had streamed from the bar the last couple nights.
This was like an actual show shift.
My first entirely online Marie's shift was full of nervous, people-pleasing energy.
The first song I released was a complete mess.
I knew nothing.
The first shift I ever did stream from Marie's from my basement before I even knew how to set things up. I'm sure it was really poorly lit.
I didn't have a ring light.
I didn't have a ring light.
I didn't have StreamYard. I think I used my phone. I can't remember.
I really was not that experienced with self-taping.
Probably the sound was bad.
I didn't have any of the technology that I use currently to do live streams.
And I did not know what I was doing at all. I think I talked for a good 2 minutes before I even started singing.
Well, my first entirely online shift was in the living room of my best friend's house in Michigan with a 7-year-old. So, not as I planned.
I had just played a shift a few days earlier in the bar, like a normal, regular shift. And then to be recording a video alone in my room, playing some of those same songs, and to not be able to turn to a friend sitting at the piano and share an inside joke or an inside look. Yeah, it was strange.
It was definitely like a vacuum. There was no moment to really second guess anything. It was just sort of okay, let's try to get people's comments and see what they're doing and see what they want to hear, and just look at all these places at once, with the camera and the comments, and just sort of learning the tempo of all that.
My first online Marie shift was actually not doing singing videos at all.
If I remember correctly, I didn't want to do a song because I knew everyone was singing and I was the bartender, even though I can sing.
I was doing greetings. I thought my job as the door guy was to greet people.
I showed everyone how to make a Cosmopolitan.
So I made videos next to statues saying, "Hi, welcome to Marie's Crisis," and telling people the online rules, which I don't even remember. I'm going to have to look at those videos and see what they said.
That was really fun because I got to drink all the Cosmos because I did a few takes and I had to make a bunch. So someone had to drink them, so it was me.
One thing I do remember is that the very first song I played at the beginning was Anatevka from Fiddler on the Roof, because that's the song that the villagers sing as they're forced to leave their home, and that seemed appropriate.
I suppose it helped me through that beginning part of the quarantine that was so confusing, with some excitement of being able to perform for people on a large scale.
Seeing all of everybody online, it was like a reunion. I felt like I hadn't seen them in ages, yet it had only been a matter of weeks.
It still felt like connection.
It was great to actually connect with people regulars from the bar that I hadn't seen in a long time.
Little did we know that how important that connection was going to end up being.
The incredible outpouring of support and tips.
I think that there's a lot of fun chatter and side conversations that go on at the bar that as the pianist we miss because we're doing our jobs. But when you can pause for a minute, take a sip of your drink and read what people have been saying to each other on the internet, it's kind of like you get to be a part of that cross chatter and that room type experience in a way that you can't really in real life. It's a shitty substitute, to be perfectly frank, but it is a substitute that is a little different. And my first shift was just kind of finding that and seeing if this will work.
It was fun.
It was fun.
It's very 21st century.
I was surprised at how much fun it was, despite the fact I felt like I was yelling into a void, and still kind of do, and I do miss having people around and in the room.
I think it was fun for the people watching. There were a lot of people watching.
We didn't know how long it was going to be, so it wasn't the doom setting in. It was a little bit of fear and apprehension, but it was like, I didn't know if we'd make any money working online. Well, it turns out we did, because we were making enough money to at least help out with, the bills that we still have to pay.
I remember it being such a big build up, and then it felt incredibly freeing. And after that, it was just, one learning experience after another.
And, music is life.
Music is life.
As I like to say. Ha-ha!
Number 3, what part of the Marie's group experience has made you feel the most proud?
The part of Marie's Crisis online that made me so proud was
just feel like really emotional about it, actually.
Honestly, it was how quickly we all came together.
I would have to say it's actually the way the staff all came together.
Yeah, we just got it together and put it out there, and it was really organized, and it still is.
How we all took our own responsibilities and went with it.
It was really grounding for me.
I think what makes me feel most proud about this whole Marie's experience is how everyone has come together and continued to do it.
There were members of the staff that did more than others, and they are absolutely keeping us all together.
Suddenly, we're having Zoom meetings and going on retreats, and people are working together and making suggestions and contributions, and that part of it has just been wonderful.
It's kind of hard, we don't want to rush to pat ourselves on the back, but it's something I'm very proud that all of us have kept up with, coming up with something fresh and stretching ourselves as artists, during a time like this, I think was really incredible.
I'm the newest, full-time regular piano player. And I feel like I've become a lot closer to all of my coworkers. And it truly is like a family. And I think that as we've continued to do it, just the fact that we've continued is, I'm very proud of that whole thing, of, this whole experience.
This community of people from all over the world, quite literally, have been able to see glimpses of a place that they've either been to and loved, or that they've always wanted to go to, or they've heard of. It's just been a place where a lot of people have found a lot of comfort during this unimaginable time, myself included, as a person performing there. It's been really very special. I'm very grateful for it.
Seeing how much joy we've been able to bring, just from the comments and our regulars and the people that have become new regulars and joined the group, I'm really proud of what we've been able to do, especially for it being a full year now. It's pretty incredible.
I'm so proud of all of my Marie's family for continuing on and for doing this day after day and putting so much work into this and doing such a wonderful job at keeping this community together and spreading the joy and the love of Marie's to all those people out there who really need it right now.
I think that's what I was most proud of for us as a staff.
The group numbers that we did. By far, putting those together and then watching them was astounding, and I felt very, very connected to a group of people that I had been separated from. So, and watching their talent all combine together and create something magical that's absolutely, easily my favorite part. We did the Sweeney Todd collection, One Day More, our Mark Castelli tribute. We did a few other things too, just some wonderful stuff, and I would actually like to continue doing that, even once the bar is back up and running.
I'm really proud of all the art, all the music that we've created over the past year.
One thing I'm really proud of is that I managed to do 2 videos a week for a year. I took a couple of vacation breaks here and there, but I've done a lot of videos. I can't even remember sometimes how many videos I've done.
I've done a lot of videos that I'm happy to have in my library.
I would have to say that a great deal of my greatest pleasure was writing a lot of music last year.
Early on, I decided that I wanted to talk about what was happening and the pandemic and COVID and stuff like that. And so I decided that I would rewrite the songs, and my husband helped me rewrite the songs. Certain musical theater songs, or just songs that I know, or standards, just to sort of comment on what's happening now.
And although it was a Marie's Crisis Broadway themed show, at the end I would close with a song that I wrote called Shine the Light, and I still close with that. And some people would actually videotape themselves with me singing it on live, and they were singing it with me with their videotape.
And I also am really proud of the vote video that we did, encouraging people to go and vote, especially to vote for Biden-Harris.
So also, I'm very proud of the amount of people we've been able to reach and keep engaged and give them something every week to come do and enjoy.
Being a part of something that the world took note of is something that I will always be extremely, extremely grateful for. To have made connections with people all over New York and all over the world, and to bring art and music, and just the idea of sitting on our separate computers in our separate homes and all singing together, no matter where we were in the world, at that same moment. We were all doing the exact same thing, and it makes me proud to be a part of that.
I'm really proud of the way that people have reached out to each other in the face of extreme adversity and extreme odds stacked against them. Folks have really shown up for each other in a human kind of way. And even through all of the social unrest and honestly the quest for justice, the quest for equality and dignity in our country and in our world, we have seen that echoed in ripples throughout how people are taking care of each other. And just in simple act of singing together, how it can change someone's ideas about the world and hopefully give them enough energy and joy to go on. And that's been really inspiring to see, and that's because all of you chose to connect with us in that really, really special, meaningful way. And you chose to make it about more than just a show tune. You chose to make it about your lives and what was going on in the world around us and what could change. And that's what made it so amazing.
Number 4, what has been the most difficult aspect of working on the Digital Marie's Crisis experience?
There have been difficulties.
Probably the most difficult experience with Digital Marie's
for me was honestly managing my own feelings around playing alone in my room.
Just not having singers to accompany.
Just not being with people.
It's just not being able to see people.
Not being able to be near people. That was probably the most difficult part.
And missing everybody and not being in the space and having that sense of community.
I miss the energy, I miss the surprising interpretive choices, and I really miss the looks on people's faces when everyone is having a good time.
As the novelty wore off and the weeks turned to months and the months turned to many more months, it does sometimes take a toll, and I feel like we're responsible for bringing some joy into people's lives when it might be hard for them all the time. So there is a certain amount of making sure you're on from a happy, peppy sort of way, and that's sometimes difficult.
You know, let's be honest, making music, even though it's you know, a lifeblood for so many of us, even making art and making music, getting yourself to that point is difficult sometimes, you know, especially when times are hard.
Some days I don't feel like being in front of people, or I'm sad, or I'm tired, and I just don't know how I can, get on camera and be on. But on those days, I just sort of sigh and go with it, and everybody who is watching starts commenting, and it's really a great give and take, and the comments and the friendly encouragement and the jokes that other people are making really help me keep going.
Self-taping is terrible. It's so, alright. Self-taping started out terrible.
The hardest part of filming and streaming for me has been looking at myself on camera, so much so that it has affected my journey with gender.
Watching my videos and re-recording them and just trying to do it better before I put out there, that was pretty annoying.
There was a time in the middle of COVID stuff, I mean, we're still probably in the middle of it, but in the middle of this past year where it felt like a job. And that was, those weren't my best days.
The most difficult parts are two things. Number one, coming up with new content every week.
What song am I going to sing? What songs do I know? What songs have I learned? What songs do I know all the lyrics to? What songs can I, remember? And what songs can I find tracks to?
And communication.
I think it was a really, really wonderful way for us to interact that was new.
We've had to do things we've never had to do before at Marie's Crisis.
To work in this new capacity meant that we had to find new ways to communicate with each other.
We meet each other at the bar, we say things get passed around in a chat, and that's it.
In the whole time I had worked at Marie's Crisis before this, I think we had had one all-staff meeting.
But if we had to make any kind of decision, if we had to go ahead at all, we all got together, every single one of us, in one group meeting, and we hashed it out.
As we were all dealing with our own feelings and our own traumas.
And that's not always easy.
If I wanted to do a duet with someone, or if we wanted to do a group number, we couldn't just get in the room and sing it all together. And rehearsals suddenly had to be a very different experience, and coordinating everything. And then the editing of the videos was very difficult.
For someone who is a little more technically challenged than a lot of other people, that's been what I found most difficult.
It can be very daunting.
I wish I had a tech expert with me, but that's just not in the budget.
Slowly people started, experimenting with different kinds of video, with different layers, even in their live stream, with frames. And the singers were learning how to do editing and put extra stuff and pizzazz. And then there's green screens,
Learning the technology, and, it was pretty challenging, definitely.
Figuring out exactly how to do it.
Finding good lighting.
Even something like a ring light. I call it a black hole sun now.
Where to set it up, finding the settings on the keyboard that would make the most sense.
Learning as I went.
We're all trying to be inventive, and I know for me, learning just about how to video myself and not be a complete weirdo, down to lighting and music choice.
It's been challenging.
I'd rather call them challenges. It's been incredibly fulfilling.
I'm just going to say, workplace hazardous conditions. You all know this. We had power outages. We had moments with puppets. We had situations with ladders. Workplace safety. Workplace safety was a struggle for Drew Wednesdays.
But ultimately, I think it was worth it.
Number 5, is there anything you would like to say to the viewers?
What I'd like to say to the viewers, looking at my dog, is
I'd like to thank all of the Marie's Crisis Live viewers for giving us a reason to keep doing this, and I'd like to thank them all.
You are the reason we're able to do this.
You've really, really kept us afloat. You've kept us in the business of what we do.
this whole thing has changed my life. This whole year has changed everyone's life, of course.
This has been, I can only speak personally. It has truly been a lifeblood for me for this past year.
I would love to take this moment to thank everybody.
Thank you for supporting us.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your tips, and thank you for your comments, and thank you for your encouragement, and thanks so much for the love.
For the likes, the loves, the support, the comments, the everything.
Thank you for the people who've tuned in and your support and all of the kind words that have come our way.
All of your support and all of your love
have really made it all worth it.
Making it worthwhile, always.
Like, more than worth it.
Thank you for an amazing, amazing calendar year together in extremely trying circumstances.
Thank you for watching for a whole year.
Not just for me, but for everybody in Marie's Crisis.
Thank you to those of you who we have met in person at the bar, and you just kept your loyalty going, and your loyalty to the American Songbook and to show tunes and to live music and to our artists and servers, bartenders, pianists at Marie's Crisis.
Thank you for showing up for the entire Marie's community.
Thank you for your tips. Thank you for your financial contributions, your donations.
I guess I mostly want to say to our viewers who don't live in New York, thank you for keeping love of musical theater alive across the country and across the globe, and I look forward to seeing you all when you come to visit New York.
And I look forward to meeting those of you who I haven't met from all over the world. It's crazy! People watching continents away who've never even been to the bar, and now you're like obsessed with our brand, and I love that. And we can't wait to meet you when you can join us safely in the bar.
You know, while we're here on our little island and you're on yours, we're able to feel that love and that connection. And that means just as much for me on this side as I hope it does for you guys on that side.
Keep singing.
Keep on singing.
And to know that you care enough to see Marie's Crisis continue on.
In these difficult and crazy times, it's nice to have a little bit of connection with people and to feel supported.
To show your true loyalty to us has been a great gift.
And keep staying safe.
And I hope to see all of us back together again in a packed room as soon as possible.
Just keep coming back to us because we want you there.
As a teacher, I'd like to say, use art as an outlet.
This has been a great growing and learning experience for all of us.
And use us to inspire you to take every moment you can for yourself and enjoy something for yourself.
I just want you to know that just seeing your names is rewarding enough. Thank you for that.
For bringing us into your homes and your lives and sharing art and something really wonderful and beautiful and building a community in such a terrible, challenging, sad, terrifying time.
Thank you for making the world a better place through your singing and through your love and through your care for your neighbors and for those around you.
But creating the Marie's group, streaming and video drops for over 30,000 viewers is pretty amazing to me. And watching the staff learn how to do new things, learn how to think outside the box, be even more creative than they already were, you know, taking the ball and just running down the street as fast as they could is amazing to watch. And I hope everyone else had a really great time watching us and them do that.
We're just really excited that you've stayed watching us for a whole year.
And I hope we will continue this relationship in perpetuity.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Truly, I'm just grateful. So grateful. So thank you.
Thank you for helping me survive this year.
I really love you.
It's been a wonderful ride. the bar is back open and we're slowly getting, the capacity is raising, and hopefully we can stay open a little longer, all within the safety parameters, of course. So get your vaccines and get ready to come into Marie's and sing soon.
I have to say that I'm really proud of not only the staff at Marie's, but I'm also really happy with the community that we've built and the new friends that I've met over this past year.
See you.
Mwah.
He's like, what are you doing? I'm so sleepy. I'm sitting on a windowsill.